Planty people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video, we're going to do an anti-plant haul. And I've seen a lot of people do this over on the beauty community, and I was like, why not do it but make it plants? Just a short little disclaimer. Just because I don't like these plants doesn't mean it's not okay for you to like these plants. Just because I think that they're too expensive doesn't mean that I think that you should think that they're too expensive. A lot of these plants are just plants that I would possibly own if they were, you know, under the $20 range, or if they were just a lot cheaper. Some of them are cheaper, but most of them aren't. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you have to, and I'm not bashing anybody for liking these plants or owning any of these plants. They're just not plants that I wish to own at this current time. Could it change next month? Absolutely. Could it change as soon as I see one of these plants in person? Absolutely. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I've sectioned it off into categories on different genuses, and let's go ahead and start off with the Imperium section. So the first Imperium we have is Imperium beechii. For the price of this Imperium, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, but like I said, to each their own. I mean, it is really cool. The rippling that the leaves have are really neat. However, I just think it's a little bit on the boring side, but that's just me. I definitely think that there are much more exciting Imperium out there that have like silver veining and all sorts of veining on them that just, you know, tickle my fancy a little bit more. So the next Imperium we have is the Imperium vitarifolium. Now, this is known as, you know, an Imperium that is part of the belt type, you know what I'm saying? Because I've heard that they feel like leather. Now, I've never seen either of these Imperiums in person. Could totally and completely change my mind, but as of this day, it does not. But I just think, like I said, I feel like it's a little boring. It's just plain green. It's long leaves. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, it's just not my favorite. I don't love them. I don't see myself like going out of my way to obtain a vitarifolium. But like I said, if it's in person and I see it and it's like the texture's really nice, but I heard they feel like rubbery. Comment down below if that is incorrect. But yeah, they're not my favorite. I only have one item in the Monstera section, and that is Monstera obliqua. I think that these are absolutely ridiculously overpriced, but they're very rare. A lot of these items are kind of on the rare side, so a hefty price tag is understandable, but like, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have like $1,000 to just buy a plant with. I just think that's crazy. I think that's so crazy. Like, I saw an auction the other day, like the bid was like over $1,000, and I'm like, how do you guys have so much money to spend on just one plant? Do you not have any bills? I have bills. I mean, it is really cool, but I just think that it's a fancier version of a Monstera adansonii. But like I said, my own opinion, my own thoughts. Now let's get started on the philodendron section. My very first plant in this section was the plant that inspired this video, actually, and it is the Philodendron Pink Princess. I think those are outrageously overpriced. They sell for hundreds of dollars, but I'm just not really a huge pink fan. I mean, if there was a Philodendron Pink Princess at my local garden center and they were selling it for 20 bucks, sure. But I'm not gonna spend $300 on just a little bit of pink variegation. But that's just me. I don't love pink that much. I really do like philodendrons. I've definitely caught the philodendron bug, as some might say, and I'm really exploring more philodendron, more aroids, and this is kind of how that list came about as well, is just me looking into more types of genus other than Hoya, because we know that I have way too many Hoya, but I mean, who cares? You always want more Hoya. But philodendron Philodendron Pink Princess. Think it's a little expensive for just some pink variegation. So that's just me. Now this next one might really shock and appall a lot of people. But I am not excited about a Philodendron Glorious or Gloriosum. I know. Don't kill me, don't unsubscribe. I really like heart-shaped leaves, I really like velvety leaves. I just like, I don't know, I think maybe if I saw one of these guys in person, I would understand the hype of like, you know, spending a little over $100, because I don't think that they're ridiculously cheap, but I think they're over the $100 mark. And anything that's over the $100 mark, I would have to absolutely really freaking love in order to invest that much money in it. Like my Imperium medium silver, I love him. I spent too much money on him, and we're rehabbing him at the moment in some leca, and I'm really hoping that that turns out well. But I absolutely really adore that plant, and like I said, it was over $100. Something, if a plant is over that $100 mark for me, like it has to be serious. Like we have to be in a committed relationship in order to take it that far. Now the next three genus, I did not specifically put any particular type of specific plant that I am not into. It is just the whole genus itself. Like I said, could totally change tomorrow if I saw like something in person that I absolutely really liked. But I do not like Sansevieria, I do not like air plants, and I really don't like a lot of Maranta. I know, I feel like everybody loves Maranta, but I'm not a huge fan of Maranta. I feel like if you're gonna get a Maranta, you might as well just get a Calathea. And I've not had very good luck keeping Calathea alive, and maybe that's why I'm deterred from liking Maranta. And all of those, all the plants in that genus, most of them aren't ridiculously expensive. I just don't really like them all that much. Rather get a pothos. And the very last section. I know. You probably didn't think that I would put any items in this section because Heather Hoyas. But we have a Hoya section. The very first one on the list is Hoya retusa. I hate Hoya retusa. I like all the tangling that Hoya retusa has, like, stresses me out. I just don't like to see like the mess. Like, even though it's not a mess, it's like a chaotic mess. And I'm not about it. I like Hoya linearis because it grows almost in the same fashion, but it grows nice and flat, nice and straight. Like, it doesn't get like discombobulated and all over the place. Hoya retusa is just crazy all over the place, and I'm not a fan of Hoya retusa. So the last item that I have on my list is an item that is still a Hoya. It's variegated. It's beautiful. But after watching a recent video from Bebee Plants, I had no idea that these Hoya did this. Hoya carrii reverse variegated. They're beautiful, but as they grow out, the older leaves lose their variegation. What's the point in that? There's no point in that. Like, Hoya obovata reverse variegated keeps all the variegation in all the older leaves. But as the carrii gets older, it loses the variegation in the older leaves. Like, why does that happen? All the new leaves keep the variegation, all the new leaves arrive nice and variegated, but the older ones lose it. Like, why? How does that make sense? That's not fair. That's not, no. Like, if you're gonna spend that much money on a Hoya or a plant, like, you better keep your variegation throughout. Like, most of the time, if a plant loses variegation, it's because of light. They're not getting enough light. But with that being said, their new growth wouldn't produce variegation either. So how does that make sense? How does it make sense that the plant would just lose the variegation as time goes on in the older leaves, but keep it in the new leaves? But yeah, that is the end of my anti-plant haul. Those are plants that I don't plan on purchasing anytime soon. Like I said, if they're really cheap and they're offered to me in person, that's a completely different story. I also want to say hello and thank you to all my new subscribers. You guys are amazing. I'm so excited to have so many new people to talk to, so many more people in the comment section. I read and reply to all of the comments, and I just really love interacting with each and every one of you. As always, like if you, excuse me, the humidity is getting in my face. As always, if you guys have any video recommendations or anything you want to see, any tips, tricks, comments, leave it down below. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you like the content, and if you really like the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But we'll see you guys next time. Bye!